In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio and video recorded. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those that are reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Please address all comments to me, the chair. This meeting of the Conservation Commission will be held by Zoom at the link provided in this notice. For anyone that is on Lunenburg Live, the meeting ID, the Zoom meeting ID is 7663167607, passcode 406418. And I would like to start the meeting with a roll call. Bob Pease, I know, is out. He is enjoying a lovely vacation in Africa. Richard Tremblay. Rich, are you there?
Yep. Hello, can you hear me?
I saw you earlier. I can now, yeah. Richard Bursch.
Present.
Jeff Viviano.
Present.
Mike LaRouche. We have Mike.
I don't see Mike.
Okay, I don't see Mike. Okay, and then no Mike. And then Chris St. Germain is also not able to be with us tonight. Okay. Like we made quorum. Okay, Anna, do we have minutes from any of our previous meetings?
We do not. That's currently behind just because due to lack of
You've been short-staffed.
but
Yeah.
the assistant, she's starting next week. So hopefully catch up in regards to that.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Do we have any announcements from commissioners? And do we have any announcements from members of the public? I have not seen any hands. Okay, where we go. New public hearings pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg's Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. A public hearing on an amended order of conditions by Nicholas Eaton for repair and construction of an existing deck at 441 Townsend Harbor Road. Do we have Nicholas Eaton or his representative here with us tonight?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to walk the commissioners through what you're doing?
Yeah, so it's the shed's been here
And,
for probably.
Sorry to interrupt just as you're getting started, but do you have anything like to show visual aids or anything like that that kind of show like a site drawing or anything?
I believe Anna has all of that.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
really quick.
And let me just put you on pause for just a minute. I apologize. I have my other commissioner trying to get a hold of me.
Okay.
Okay, am I back in the Zoom room?
Yes.
Excellent. Good news. Mike is going to be able to join us. He was having trouble finding the posted revised agenda as well. I know, Rich, you had Rich first, you had some challenges there. Okay. Nick, I think before I had to put you on pause there, you were asking Anna to pull up the drawing so you could review that with us.
Yep.
Yep, so I'm gonna share the screen real quick. And what I'm gonna be sharing is just the original plans to the original order of conditions. Hold on one moment.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay, you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Nick, you want to take it away and talk to us about what you're doing there?
Yeah, so the shed and the deck has been there for probably, I don't know, 30, 40 years now. When the two trees had collapsed on the house like 3 years ago, one of the limbs had hit the corner of the deck and it kind of popped everything up. So it just needs to be reframed. So what I'm just trying to do is reframe that deck, not making it any bigger, and pretty much matching it with the current deck on the house. So I'm pretty much I'm gonna make it a Trex decking, so it's not gonna be wood anymore.
And I did have the opportunity to do a site walk on Saturday along with two other commissioners. And I believe you said that the existing kind of I'm losing the words. It's kind of hot and muggy where I'm at. Yeah, so did you say they were going to take the existing mounting and drive some type of special Trex sort of pillar or something into the ground? Am I recalling
yeah,
correctly?
yeah, the techno post. That's so you don't have to pour any, like it's like a I don't know if you want to call it like a support beam, so you don't have to put like blocks in.
Okay, and
That's
would
usually what
you?
a lot of people use.
The deck that we saw actually had, it looked like three supports that went below the water line or below the high water mark. The three sections that are closest to the water. Now, one of them was on dry land, but just looks like it's below the high water mark. And then one of them was kicked in and one of them was actually in the water. Is your intention to replace and put those Teco block pilings in the water there?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do at this point, I'm working with the building department too in Lunenburg. They told me to come to the conservation, get the approvals, and then he can kind of walk me through and let me know by code what needs to be done. But he said the first step would be to get the approval from the conservation.
And these Teco blocks are actually placed on the surface, or are they driven into the ground?
They're like beams. It's like a sono beam. They come in with like a little machine. It would probably take them 20 minutes. They just put them into the ground. It gets torqued into the ground. They don't have to dig a hole or anything. And there's like a little bracket on them, and then you support them.
Okay, those are all of my questions for now. I'll open it to my fellow commissioners to ask questions. Okay, Rich Tremblay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking at the drawings here, and I see the shed, and I see the existing wood deck, and everything appears to be on dry land and on the applicant's property. But I was with you on that site walk Saturday as well, and one of those posts is solidly in that water. I'm questioning if it's even, if this has been modified over the years, the dock, or if I don't know what to expect. I just know that it doesn't appear to be on the property when we went there yesterday. It appears to have one leg of it in the lake.
That is a very good point. Rich, I agree with you on that. It doesn't match.
Yeah, so nothing's, when I got the house, I got the house, 3 years ago, and nothing's been changed. Dillis and Roy was on site plenty of times. Matt Morrow, which isn't on the conservation, he was on site as well. I'm not sure if anybody else was, but I could go around the neighbors and they could all vouch for it. It hasn't been touched. It's been like that, like I said, for 30, 40 years now.
Okay, so it's existing. It's just that it looks like the drawing shows the high water mark offset to the left, maybe by a couple of feet. But definitely there were three of the pilings or supports in the high water line mark, at least per what I observed.
Madam Chair?
Thank you. Any other questions by my fellow commissioners? Rich Tremblay, did you just raise your hand again?
Yeah, yes, I did. I was just wondering if this is the case, with it being in the water and whatnot, if the applicant would be willing to at least modify the deck to a point where the supports are all on the dry land.
Nick, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, as long as everything has to be by code either way because of where it is. I mean, we could make all the posts on land. That's not a problem.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich. Rich Birch?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So it looks like the deck isn't quite drawn accurately to what's on site. I would recommend, I know the building inspector is looking for an approval. I would recommend that we do a straw poll. The deck is in place. Technically, he can replace the deck as is, though I definitely agree with Rich Tremblay that we should be getting the supports out of the water above the high water mark, and that we design the deck in roughly such a way that the supports are out of the high water. And it can also be, in my opinion, as long as the square footage and the encroachment of the new deck is equal to the existing deck, if we have to slide it back a little bit or change the exact shape of it to keep it above the high water mark, generally that's not an issue either. So I personally would have a problem approving it without knowing the final construction and design of the deck. So I would recommend that we do a straw poll and give approval to, or give verbal approval, I guess, to have Nick go with the building inspector and design it out properly, that yes, he can put it back there. It can't be any larger. Figure it out what it needs to be to code, and then come back and we can make sure that it is legal at their, it protects the wetlands at that point to our charge. So, and the only other thing too is if we're using materials, they should be in the application. I know what a Teco piling is. It's basically a big metal screw and they just screw it into the ground. So there's no digging involved. The only thing you have left is a 4-inch tube basically on top of the ground, and then they put a footing on top of that, and then they put the decking on top of that. So it's actually a really good use in this area where you don't have to necessarily dig and disturb the soils. So, but that would be my recommendation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich, for those comments. I do have a question for you. So with regard to allowing them to keep the current footing structure, if they were going back with the same kind of footing, I think I understand that pretty clearly about just a replacement for when they're actually going in. If he wanted to stay going into the bed of the lake with the TECO support, wouldn't that drive the applicant to a DEP submittal? Because it's not currently driven into the bed of the lake.
If is the 4x4 basically just sitting on top of the ground now, so there's no footing or anything in place?
That's what it appeared to me. Nick, could you clarify?
I'm not in front of it right now. I believe so though. I think Anna had I think she took a couple of pictures.
Yeah, I see a picture of it. I just don't see how it is, interfaces with the ground. And I don't think that there would be an issue, cantilevering it that last little bit or jogging it to keep the footings out of the wetland. That would be the cleanest and easiest way to do it. So, and I suppose we can ask Nick too, if you have to change the shape of it a little bit, Nick, that's not a big deal, is it? Make it a little bit wider and not quite as close to the water's edge. As long as you get the same square footage, we don't want to be increasing the square footage in that area. And if we can drag it back so it's not overhanging the high water mark, that's technically less impact towards the wetland. So it's definitely a better condition than what they have right now.
Yeah, when I take apart the deck, the building inspector had already said that he wants to come out to inspect it, pretty much to tell me what we're gonna do. And I have no problem coming back on the conservation meeting with pictures and just letting you know what we're gonna do. But I don't believe that it would be a problem to keep the posts out of the water.
Okay. Yeah, and just like I say, have a bit of a narrative and maybe some brochures. This is what we're doing. This is what we're using, so that we have it all on file and can make sure what we approve is what gets put in place.
Not a problem.
Okay, so any other commissioners have questions or comments? I'm not seeing any other hands. And do any members of the public have any questions or comments? Okay. I think I'll go with the straw poll. I don't know if I need to go with the straw poll, and it seems pretty straightforward what you've asked, Rich, and it seems that the applicant is amenable to that, and in absence of other commissioner commentary, it seems like I am looking for a motion to continue with the applicant coming back and adjusting the drawing to more accurately reflect reality, and then also adjusting the drawing to show the change in footprint, keeping the same square footage, but keeping the feet of the support out of the water.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so Rich Bursch with the first.
Yes, Rich Bursch with the motion.
With the motion, and Rich Tremblay with the second. And that would be to continue to, what is the date of the next meeting, Anna?
The 19th.
19th. Okay. Nick, I think that gets you where you need to be.
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Yes, thank you. Yep, roll call vote. Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
and I for myself. Not see that Mike LaRouche has joined our number yet. Okay.
I just have a
so-
quick question. Can I start to take the deck apart?
I don't see any reason why you can't take the deck apart and remove it. Any comments from other commissioners? Somebody want to set me straight?
I would just make an as-built drawing just so that you have the dimensions, so that we just keep the same square footage if you change the dimensions of the deck, but keep the same square footage. That would be it.
Okay, yeah,
Good.
I had gave Anna kind of like a CAD drawing of it. Well, it's 360 square feet.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent comment. Okay, thank you. We will move along to the next hearing. We're moving into continued public hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Lunenburg Skate Park, Inc. for the proposed construction of a skate park and drainage basin at 100 Chestnut Street. Do we have anybody here?
Yes, Madam Chair, Greg Roy with Dillison Roy. I'm representing the applicant.
Hi, Greg. Do you want to share your screen and take us through the application?
Yes, that'd be great. Bear with me. I think I need someone to allow me to share my screen.
Let's go check those settings. Okay, yep, that was on me.
That's all right.
Okay. Right now.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. While that's coming up, I wanted to give the commission just a little bit of history here. And then tell you what I'd like to talk to you about tonight. So we filed the notice of intent back in March or April, and by we, the Lunenburg Skate Park, filed the notice of intent back in March or April for the construction of a proposed concrete skate park within Marshall Park. And as we were working through that design, or through that public hearing process, the Parks Commission had engaged already the consultant that they are using to prepare plans for the entire Marshall Park master plan, Marshall Park overhaul master plan, if you will. So we're working in a very specific area of the of Marshall Park, but it needs to fit into the overall program that the Parks Commission is working on with their consultant. And so, we've been working with them over the last, several years actually, on this front. And as luck would have it, their efforts with their consultant coincided with our detailed design efforts as well. So what we've been doing, we've been continuing this, of course, for the last several months. And what we've been doing over the last several months is coordinating our efforts with the Parks Commission and their consultant to make sure that we have the thing exactly in the right spot, and that it will mesh with their work. So we certainly wouldn't want to build anything that would be in the way of any future infrastructure that the Parks Commission is proposing in their proposal. So that's what we've been doing to coordinate over the past several months. So I gave you a plan just this evening or late afternoon that you probably don't have. And it's the plan that's on the screen this evening. And I wanted to be respectful of the commission's time and also the Parks Commission to the extent that they have not seen this either, the final plan. They've seen the actual footprint and layout of where we're proposing it. But I wanted to take a few minutes here just to go over what we've changed on this plan, understanding that you just got this. So I would expect that we'd probably we may want to give a few weeks here for the commission to kind of digest what we're doing here, what we're proposing here. But I wanted to give you an overview of what we're proposing. So I actually wanted to start with the old plan we submitted back in March. This is the plan that we had shown you before, and this is a real detailed view, if you will. So I don't have an overview of where this is in the park, but if you were to come in from Massachusetts Avenue, from the Mass Ave exit next to entrance next to Conrad's, and drive in past the gate, you would come to a gravel driveway that kind of goes off to the right and through the woods over towards the T-ball field, if you can visualize that. That gravel driveway comes right through here, right like this. So the proposed park location is, generally speaking, in the area of that gravel driveway. The existing, T-ball field is this fence. Let me see if I can highlight. Is this fence right here, like that. And that gravel driveway that was referring to kind of comes right through like this. It's kind of recycled asphalt product, but it's not a paved driveway like that. So you can see what we had this proposed relative to those features. The wetland system is down here. And so the buffer zone is right in this area here. After we prepared this plan, it became apparent that we had some conflicts with the master plan that the Parks Commission was preparing. So we went through a process of modifying that. It really did not change substantially in location. What we ended up doing was taking it and sort of rotating it and sliding it a little bit closer towards the wetland area. And that was to get it away from a proposed pavilion area that the master plan has, that the Parks Commission is planning, and that has been identified in the approved master plan that they identified a year or so ago. So we slid the park over, and we accommodate. So this plan that you see on the screen is the plan that you just got a few hours ago. The overall geometry of the park is the same. It just rotated slightly. The other thing we did, the brown that you see here, this walkway that is shown on the plan, is a proposed park walkway as proposed by the master plan, the Marshall Park master plan. So we dropped that location on this plan, and we had to make sure that what we're proposing to build with the skate park and also the drainage works with that feature as well, so that when we build, because we are likely to be in there first before the park master plan is built, we want to make sure that what we build could accommodate the proposed infrastructure that's being proposed by the Marshall Park master plan. So you can see here that this brown hatched area is the location of the proposed walking path We do not propose to build that as part of the skate park project, but we do propose to make sure that the site is graded and that there's enough area for the construction of that. So we have modified our drainage. So this area in here, this sort of mandolin looking shape, is generally speaking where the old drainage basin was proposed. It's just that it's reshaped. We had we were utilizing some more area up in this area basically for that drainage basin, and because we needed to accommodate the location of the proposed walking path infrastructure, we relocated that and reshaped that drainage basin as you can see it on this plan today. The other thing that we did was we tried to understanding that the parks project, the master plan project, may very well utilize that stormwater management area in the future. We tried to make it so that it was as big as we could possibly make it. So we've sort of grabbed a little bit more area and widened it out in this location to try to accommodate some of that future infrastructure that will be coming down the pipe, albeit hopefully after we are done with the skate park project. So generally speaking, not much has changed from a high overview, if you will. The sort of the nuts and bolts of the proposal are still the same. We just sort of slid things around a little bit and reshaped the drainage system and added in some of that proposed infrastructure so that we could make sure we were coordinated. The other thing that I wanted to point out to the commission is that shortly after, well, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I had a discussion with Matt Morrow, and Matt was the wetland scientist or wetland specialist of record that delineated the wetlands on the site for the town. And this wetland area that I'm showing in blue here is actually not a jurisdictional wetland under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. So it does not have hydraulic conductivity down to the larger wetland area that flows down and is sort of a bordering on Marshall Pond. It's an isolated area, and it doesn't have enough area to be considered bordering land subject to flooding. So Matt's opinion is that's actually only jurisdictional under your bylaw. So I wanted to make that known to the commission. So that kind of changes things. We did file this with DEP. We got a DEP file number, but it's really not jurisdictional under the Wetlands Protection Act, just due to the fact that it doesn't have a large enough area and it does not have a hydraulic connection to a larger down gradient bordering vegetated wetland. So anyway, I wanted to kind of stop there. I wanted to get any comments or questions from the commission. I also noticed that there's several members of the Parks Commission here. So I wanted to just make sure that I didn't talk the whole time, and I'm happy to take any questions or answer any questions or take any comments.
Okay, thank you, Greg. That's interesting about Matt's commentary. But since it is jurisdictional under the bylaws, I don't know what that. We'll just leave it at that, right? In looking at your drawing, do you have? And I thought you had the 30 and 50 and 100 mark.
Yeah, I do. Sorry, there we go. So the 30 is in red. Can you see that?
Yes. Thank
And
you.
we're not proposing anything in the 30.
Mm-hmm.
The 50 is in green. So you can see right there, it's a little bit light. We are proposing to build basically the stormwater berm within the 50 foot. It's just the way the topography works on the site. And then the 100-foot is shown in orange. So you can see that there.
Okay, very good.
So most of
And
the,
does the,
good.
go
Sorry.
ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that when we were here before you a few months ago, most of the park, most of the actual paved portion of the park was outside of the buffer zone. There was only a small portion inside. The rotation that we did pushed a little of that into the outer, maybe 15 feet of the buffer zone, but it's still not that, it's still not very far in.
And do these changes that you've made affect any of the trees? You have to take down more trees or anything like that?
Yeah, there are quite a few more trees. That's a great question. So we had, you can kind of see, we have all the trees shown. They're in grayscale. I'm not sure if you can really see them too well. But we had located all the trees in this area after our first opening hearing with the commission. And we had intended to utilize a more open area. It's still in the woods, but an area where there wasn't or where there was fewer stems, physical trees that would have to be removed, right in this kind of where it says stormwater management area, this white space in here. And as it turns out, we just got too squeezed with in this portion of the site. So we had to sort of expand that area down here. And there will be some trees, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7 trees, I think, that would have to come out as part of this drainage basin work.
And is that 7 total trees or 7 additional?
7 additional over what we were proposing, 7 or 8 additional over what we were proposing originally. They're all outside of the 50-foot, so they're all between 50 and 100. But be that as it may, there are more trees.
Okay, Greg, thank you. I will open the floor to my fellow commissioners. Any questions or comments? Oh, wait, one other question. Greg, this new revised drawing, I know the previous drawing had been submitted to DEP. Has the revised drawing also been submitted?
We haven't, because it's really not under their jurisdiction anymore. But, customarily, we really wouldn't do that anyway. We would respond to DEP comments to the satisfaction of your commission, but, we customarily don't typically resend. But in this case, it's less important, I think, just because it's not it doesn't, we could have just filed this under your local bylaw. But we did, at the onset of this, we didn't pick up the fact that it wasn't a jurisdictional, a WPA jurisdictional area. So we filed with both.
Okay. And was this originally filed when Matt Morrow was in office or worked with Lunenburg?
No, it was filed, we just filed it this past March. But sometime last year in 2022, or maybe even earlier, Matt had flagged this as he was kind of retiring, or just after. He flagged this for the town, sort of pro bono. He flagged all of the wetlands actually in Marshall Park, not just this area. Yeah, anyway, so the delineation was done by him.
Okay. All right, I see, thank you, Greg. I see Rich Birch has raised his hand. Rich, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mary. Greg, what is the square footage of the wetland?
Oh, boy, I want to say it's in the 3,000 square foot range, Rich, but I don't have my CAD up. I'd have to measure it in CAD. We do have that. I could get that for you.
Okay, yeah, just so we can, again, to verify that it's under 5,000 feet, so.
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
it definitely is not on the same plane as the lower wetlands, so.
Yeah, and it's, a lot of times you see a hydraulic connection where you see a thread line or even if it's intermittent and only, only flows when it's after a storm event, there's really nothing there. It's just must be I really think it's just kind of hung up because of the soil conditions and the topography in the area. It's just kind of a pocket.
Just trapped up in there, so.
Yeah.
Okay, no, yeah, if you get a set, that would be great just to have it for, to support.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
I can even get Matt to write something on that too, if the commission would be, find that helpful.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you show that it's under 5,000 feet, it's pretty self-explanatory at that point.
Okay, yeah, that's, yep, that's easy to, that's easy to get.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other commissioners have questions? Comments? Okay, I'm not seeing any questions or comments here. I'll open it to members of the public. Are there any questions or comments? No questions or comments. Okay. And Greg, did you have any planned tree replacements or schedule replacement? Or
We do. You can
in this
kind of see here,
proposal?
you can kind of see here, we have a proposed planting schedule. We were proposing to do 7 red maples, which we thought would do pretty well in the area. But I'm noticing here on this revised plan, we don't show you where they're going to be planted. So I have to update the plan on that. So we will do that. And my intention was to replace, even though your bylaw really talks about replacement of trees within the 30-foot. 2 or 3 months ago, when we opened the hearing, we talked about replacing the trees between the 30 and the 50-foot. So we do intend to do that. And we intend to do that down sort of in an area that won't be disturbed by the master plan work. So that, it just won't be ripped out again.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I will make sure those are on there in addition to getting you the backup on the, as Mr. Birch asked, on the size of the wetland. I guess, I guess what we'd like to do is, if there's no other questions, I'd like to have the opportunity to just circulate this plan to the Parks Commission. I don't think that your commission is inclined to close it tonight anyway, and I would like to ask that you do not, because I want to make sure that I've given the Parks Commission enough time to just take a final look at it before we close it. But I'd like to come back in a couple weeks and put your commission in a position where you feel comfortable to close.
So I hear you asking for it to be continued to 6/19. I'm sorry, 7/19. Yeah, July.
I'd love it to be
19th.
done 6/19. That'd be great. Can we do that? No, that'd be fine. And I think we're pretty much there. Like I said, I just want to make sure that we get your commission the information and make sure that we've dotted all our i's, crossed all our t's with the Parks Commission as well.
Okay, I think that sounds good to me. I think I'd be looking for a motion to continue this hearing to 7/19.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I did.
Okay, I'm going to give that one to Rich Tremblay. All right. So roll call vote. Mike LaRouche. I will note that Mike LaRouche joined us at the top of this hearing, so we will allow his vote here. Mike LaRouche. Unless we lost him again. No, he's there. Mike, you're on mute. We'll come back. Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Richard Birch.
I just had one quick comment for Greg as he's reviewing it with the Parks Commission. Just make sure that they are aware of the O&M plan for the maintenance of the stormwater structures.
Yeah, and I know that their consultant is working on stormwater sort of as a master level for the whole park. So I'm sure it will fit in with that, but that's the kind of thing. I want to make sure we're coordinated.
Yep, perfect. Then I voted aye, Madam Chair. And I see Mike LaRouche's face.
Aye.
No, Mike
Aye for
LaRouche,
me,
aye.
Mary.
Richard Tremblay. Thank you, Mike. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
and aye for myself. Okay, this hearing is continued to July 19th. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg's Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Town of Lunenburg Facilities Department for the proposed addition of sand at the town beach at 265 Prospect Street. We have representatives from the town here.
Hi, Madam Chair. This is Anna Lockwood. I'm the Chair of the Parks Commission. We are the property owners of the town beach. Along with me, I have Karen Menard and Pat Hackey, fellow commissioners.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay,
So-
do you want to talk to us more about this? I think
Yeah.
this is a continued hearing.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, so I appreciate that. So the town beach is open. We have, when there's no monsoon outside, we are getting good traffic. In average, we're getting, in a day like today, we're getting about 60 people coming in. That includes, a lot of times in the morning, you're dealing with parents and children. In the afternoon, you get some parents with older kids or just, a 15-year-old type of thing. Next week, we're going to see attendance go up. If that's going to double, if not more. Swim lessons will be starting. We actually have a first swim lesson this Saturday. Next week, we'll start Monday through Friday. We have over 60 kids sign up for the week. So if the reason I am predicting this should be double is because it's going to be 60 kids generally coming with a parent, if not another sibling. And what we are hoping to do today is to just talk about what we're trying to do and how we can get what you had requested. So that we can improve the conditions down at Town Beach. First, I visited your office this week, and I looked at our current application because it was submitted by the Chris Ruth, who's our facility director. He's responsible for the day-to-day operations. And I reviewed our previous application, which was actually from 2017. I know in the last meeting it wasn't clear when that last application happened, and I know I had watched the meeting and someone said, oh, I think it was 3 years ago. It was in fact 6 years ago. Our current application is the same as it was last time. And I actually asked Ann Petrie to see the application too for Arrive Lunenburg, because recently this commission approved the delivery of sand on their beach, which is just down the street from us. And the documentation and information that we presented on our application is similar to what they have. They had an added drawing, but it was because they had included they were constructing a structure there. But for the sand application was just the application as we submitted. So what we are hoping to get is my request, and I want to go over a few other points on what's happening there. But right out of the bat, I want to say that I would like to see if the Conservation Commission would consider approving this request of 20 yards for sand so that we can improve the conditions of the town beach for our residents there. We have a very short season. And within that approval have conditions that we are going to do the work of pulling some sand from the pond now and try to recover the sand. We're having a bit of a difficult time now getting this work done prior to this approval, because one, the facilities department do not have any equipment. We either borrow from the DPW or we need to hire out. To hire someone to come in and just pull the sand out, it's not very economical. We would need to ask someone to come and do the work and pull pull the sand from the lake at the same time. Otherwise, we're paying twice. And we in the Parks Commission, we don't have a big budget. So we need to think of this, how can we get things done efficiently and economically? The DPW is very busy. They cannot get a truck there right away or a machine. And the other problem that we have is that the beach is in operation. We have a very short season. The beach just opened. I think our first week was technically June 17. And of course, it rained. It's been raining most of June. And we're going to be closing before the end of August. So we really have a period of a little over 2 months total that we can offer this recreation to all town residents, to our taxpayers. I was talking with the beach staff today, and there's very little sand. There's very little sand in some parts of the beach. In some others, the sand needs to be turned over. So we're hoping that when we get someone there to do the work, to retrieve the sand from the lake, that person, and put new sand, we're also going to be turning over the sand. There's some, just general insects on the sand that some of the kids are a little scared whenever they see a big bug coming out of the sand. The lifeguard team are worried about some of the rocks that are there. We deal with, toddlers, they're coming with their mom and just, they don't have, we have lifeguards, the parents are there, but, any little kid walking and falling and hitting at their heads on a rock can be problematic. So they are getting many complaints about the condition of the beach. And I am more concerned about this operation comes next week, because as I said, we're going to have double the attendance, if not more. So my request is, again, for the approval of this request of delivering 20 yards of sand to Town Beach so that we can do the work. Once we have someone there, it'll be easier if we're hiring out, we can price it to have that same person do the work, or we need to work with the DPW to do this work later. But that is somewhat of, I do take recreation and enjoyment of public lands, seriously. And I think, the town of Lunenburg, the residents, the taxpayers, they do their share to provide that space. And I take it seriously that we should provide them a good town beach. So I think it's important and it's somewhat urgent, especially as we start swim lessons next week. So that's my request. I'll take any questions if anyone has, and Karen Menard and Pat Hack is also available.
Thank you, Anna. So is the application for 20 yards of sand or
Yep,
in total?
in total.
Okay. For some reason I was thinking it was for more spread over a couple of years, but I might be confusing it with a different one.
With the previous one I think it was for 60 yards, and it was for the duration of the approval. But this is just for 20 yards to repair the beach as is now.
Okay. This year.
Yep.
Okay. And I will point out that while it's interesting that you looked up other applications, each application stands on its own. We have a volunteer commission here of really great people who give of their time to help administer the Wetland Protection Act, but we're not perfect. And one hearing doesn't set a precedence on a different hearing. So
Mary,
each hearing stands on its own merit.
Mary, I completely agree. I look at all the applications to see if I was missing something that I could bring to you, but I didn't see it. It was a study of what else can I do. I apologize if it was understood as anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I will open the dialogue for questions and comments from fellow commissioners. Okay, Rich Tremblay, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of questions. Andrew, we did a site walk down there, and I did walk all along the area of the beach. The rocks you're talking about that are a tripping hazard and could possibly cause injury, I don't remember seeing them. I believe you when you tell me they're there. Is there any plan to remove them?
Yeah, so yes, that is. So when they come to turn over the sand, the plan is to rake those rocks off. The beach staff has been removing the rocks as they see them. So maybe you didn't see it, but every day I was there today and I saw a few. And you don't need a big rock to cause damage and injury to a child. Like my son had 6 stitches on his knee from a rock, it was just had a sharp edge when he was 6 years old. So the staff is doing the best that they can, but the goal is, first step is to go there. Depends if we're able to hire out the job. We are hoping they'll be able to try to pull the sand right away, but at this point we can't say that we can't get a quote right now because we don't know what we need to do. And we had run out of money in the beginning of the season. Just now we got a new budget. So the plan is to turn the sand so that the sand gets compacted, rake the sand as well, take anything that's there, any rocks, and that usually prevents more rocks from coming up throughout the year, which is what's happening now. And then, level off the sand and pour in sand where needed. But Chris didn't think that we needed more than 20 yards.
Okay, thank you. Just one last question then. You're requesting 20 yards of sand for the beach. And are you also going to continue to move forward with your plan to remove sand from the water? And bring it
Yes.
back to the beach?
Yeah, and that can be a condition of this approval. We don't have a problem with that. And in fact, we're going to be working together. The Marshall Park plan is coming up, and I know things that I'm learning. We are supposed to submit with our plans the plan for maintenance of the stormwaters. And I believe we as a commission, we need to create a plan on maintaining our parks and documenting that, because like the previous sand, for example, was done by a volunteer. We can't even speak to how much sand was brought in and how often it was. And I think we need to do a better job with that, especially as we, come to you. So I think this would be a good little test of, can we do this job and report back to you that we did?
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich. I would humbly suggest to the Parks Commission that pulling the sand from the lake maybe ought to be done annually.
I
Just
agree.
as part of maintenance.
I agree. Actually, I was talking with Chris, because we only use the property for less than 3 months. Can we create an erosion control for year round? Because most of the year that property is not being looked over, it's just there. So we're gonna definitely look at that and figure out how we can do this better.
Thank you. Do any other commissioners have questions or comments? And I'll open it to members of the public. Are there any members of the public that have other comments or questions? All right, well then I think I'm looking for a motion. This was an RDA. So a motion either way.
I'll make a motion for a negative determination, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Jeff. And the order of condition to pull sand from the lake post applying the in the fall was already offered. Is that included in your motion?
Okay, I was on, yeah, absolutely.
Do we have a second? Okay. Do we have anybody that wants to make a counter motion?
I'll second the original motion, Madam Chair.
So we have a motion by Jeff Viviano to for negative determination with the ordered condition to pull sand from the lake post-season at the latest, and then a second by Richard Tremblay. We'll go for a roll call vote. Mike LaRouche?
Is that for a vote or for my raised hand?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your raised hand, Mike. I'm premature on asking for a vote.
All
Please
right.
continue.
In inclusion in the fall to reclaiming some of the sand, I like the applicant's idea about making some sort of erosion control when the beach is not open, either using whatever's available to keep the sand from going into the water. Are they also going to do that as part of this application?
May I speak, Madam Chair?
Yes, Anna,
Oh,
proceed.
okay. Mike, this is something that we don't have a complete plan. This is our ideas that Chris Ruth and I were discussing today. The proper process for us would be to bring this as an idea to our commission and set a policy for it, so then it can be implemented, and that's when it would come to you. So if we could go through the process of that's what the Parks Commission is set to do, is to create policies. So, and the way, because that's how we can enforce with the town. So we will get back to you on that one particular item on maintenance of the town beach sand and what to do once the season's closed. I like it. Like I truly believe we should be doing that. But it's just we don't have a plan to put it as part of this determination at this point.
But are you saying you are working on that plan or will work on that plan?
Yeah.
If we approve today the 20 yards of sand, so we can know by next year, you're not going to be asking for, 20 or 40, or you could be asking for more sand. But I'm seeing that if you had a plan or working on a plan to try to make the sand stay at the beach instead of going into the water, that certainly would go a long way with me as a commissioner. Whether you use wattles, and I'm not sure if that would be enough but that's something to me that could happen, or whatever else you decide, or whether the facility department has a plan, what works in other places that could be utilized at the town beach. I'd be interested in voting on that today if I knew you were going to work ahead and try to take measures not to keep replenishing sand year after year. If there's a way of keeping the sand on the beach, that would be great.
Right, and Mike, that's our intention. Like I said, there is a way to do this as a commission. We got to work as a commission to come up with a plan. We got to work with the town to make sure there's a budget for. But we just got to do the work. I wouldn't want that to be a condition to this one specific item, because we don't have a plan. So it wouldn't make sense to do that now. And we haven't been coming here year after year to ask for sand. The last request was 6 years ago for 60 yard, and now we are coming in with 20. So let's do one step at a time. All these things, I appreciate the work that you guys do, but it's very labor intense to create policies and procedures and make sure that are doable by the town. If we come up with a plan that cannot be funded, doesn't work. So we got to work with the town. We got to make sure it's a doable plan versus just having a policy that will not be done. But, you know, I know, anyway, I know you're not, I think this is I want to do this because it is a good plan, is what we should do. But it's not what I see, you know. I also don't want to, I don't think I'm not in the point that I say this should be made as part of condition. I am saying it should be a condition that we remove reclaimed sand. Because that was requested in the last time, and we are saying that, yes, we are going to do it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mike. I think we're back to our roll call vote with the assumption that that has not changed any commissioners' minds, but it might have. We'll find out in the vote. So Mike LaRouche, how do you vote?
Aye.
Jeff Aviano,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
No.
Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
and I for myself. So that is approved for a negative determination with order of condition for sand from the lake to be reclaimed in the fall. With Jeff Viviano motion, Richard Tremblay second. We had one dissenting vote.
Thank you. And I look forward to continue working with you all. And, you know, we're not the specialists of this, but I like working together and getting ideas and knowing how we can, you know, at the end, work for the town. Appreciate it.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving along. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Robert J. Correa for the construction of a garage at 932 Flat Hill Road. Have we gotten a DEP number for that yet?
No, we have not, Madam Chair. I checked at about 6:30 and we still have not.
Okay, so we're going to have to continue this regardless.
Yes. So
Who was speaking?
this is James Tatro, representative for the applicant, Mr. Correa.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I will let you, as a representative of the applicant, continue. So what did you want to share with us today?
I'd like to share my screen if I may.
Please proceed.
Okay, let's see if we can get that. Okay, is that working?
I can see your screen.
Okay, terrific. What you see in front of you is a revised site plan. After being before the commission at the previous meeting, the former chairman, Mr. Pease's last. The feedback was pretty clear to us that the commission wanted us to try to lessen impacts. And so I'll quickly flip back to that plan. This was the plan originally filed with the proposed garage/barn pushed way over to the edge of the combined property. we revised that to what you see now on the screen, with the garage much closer to the house. Again, still all work outside of the 50-foot buffer zone. And we had already an infiltration area for roof runoff from the new building. We added also an infiltration area to receive gutter and downspout collected runoff from the existing house. The proposed new location is entirely on the downslope of the area graded to meet breakout from the existing septic system in this area. I'm running the cursor over where the existing leaching trenches are. And so this was all altered for that. You'd only have a little bit of alteration at the edge of the tree canopy over here. And there's one other change here which is that the applicant brought to my attention that there's actually an area here where there are no trees, and it's kind of a odd sort of scrubby bit of grass vegetation. That's actually a preferable spot from which to bring in the driveway rather than over in roughly this location here where there is a good stand of trees. So I would just summarize that in response to the commission's feedback at the previous meeting. We moved the proposed garage / barn over to this area into what is just yard below the septic system. We added, in addition to this infiltration area that was previously proposed, another one to receive the existing house runoff to provide a net benefit. And we also added to the plan, there were a couple of questions, I'm sorry, the statistics are in the notes. One or two of the members asked how much riverfront area alteration there is in inner and outer riparian zone and how much impervious surface there is. And we added that to the notes here, that information that was requested.
Could you read it to us? I'm having a hard time reading it sideways.
Oh, gosh, I'm going to read it sideways too. The site contains a total of 49,700 square feet of riverfront area. A total of 21,492 square feet of the inner riparian zone has already been altered by lot development, including 1,987 square feet with impervious cover. A total of 13,554 square feet of outer riparian zone has already been altered, including in the outer riparian zone, 3,982 square feet with impervious cover. I think those were the stats that were specifically requested at the last meeting.
How much is proposed to be altered as a result of this plan?
I think it's the very next note. Sorry, I'm turning my head sideways to read here. Sorry. The proposed work would alter 4,542 square feet of inner riparian zone and 1,600 square feet of outer riparian zone. So it's a total of 6,100 square feet. And again, we propose to move the garage over to where it's already in his playground, frisbee golf, slope down from the septic system area, and we added an additional infiltration area to provide some benefit in a net sense that there would now be actually a lesser net impervious area that is, I'll say, that is not infiltrated or does not have its runoff infiltrated than there is now.
And do you have a schedule of trees that are going to be impacted in the inner and outer riparian zone?
It's actually a fraction. I don't have the little plan that Mr. Correa had. It's actually a fraction of the ones before, because the plan that was on the screen before showed a lot of trees where I'm circling the cursor. And those are going to be able to be left alone. and the trees in this area up here will be able to be left alone. And so it is still a few trees. I think his estimate, we spoke on the phone just before the meeting, was about 4 to 5 total, where it was a couple times that previously.
4 to 5 trees in the outer riparian zone, or 4
I think that was
to
total. I
5
think
total?
Yeah, I think that's total with about an even split. Two each, or 2 in one and 3 the other. It's really just this area right as I'm circling the cursor in a sort of elliptical spot. It's really just this here.
Okay, I'm just one commissioner, but trees in the riverfront area are important to denote and important to put on plans, because I do want to see and have accountability for what you're committing to leave and what we've specifically allowed you to alter.
Okay.
I don't have other questions. I'll open this to my fellow commissioners. I'll call him Rich Bursch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we don't have this plan submitted yet for review?
That's not true. You've had it for, I think, a week.
Okay, I don't see it on the drive, Anna.
I'll
I'm
double,
actually looking at it, Rich, on the drive.
You are. I've been looking
Yeah.
for it. I couldn't find it. Okay, I'll take a second look. And so have you determined with the new plan? I didn't quite catch all of the figures you were throwing out. How much area with the trees and non-disturbed that we are going to be impacting with the new design?
That was from, I'm sorry, I'm turning my head to try and read this. That is on note number 2 in the bottom left of the screen. 4,542 square feet of inner riparian zone and 1,600 square feet of outer riparian zone.
So that's additional disturbance with the new plan.
No, that actually the disturbance under this plan as opposed to the plan originally submitted is a decrease. This is the total disturbance proposed. It was actually slightly larger under the previous plan. In addition to moving the garage to a better location, the overall alteration is slightly diminished.
From current?
From the previous plan.
Nope, from current conditions. What are we disturbing from current conditions?
The numbers I just read you.
Okay.
542 and 1,600.
Okay, so that's disturbance to current conditions with the new plan that's submitted. And I did find it, so I apologize.
No problem.
Okay.
But you're correct.
Okay. And do you have any remediation for that disturbed area so that we have a net zero if we go forward with this project?
May I make a point? I'm the homeowner, Bob Correa. Most of the building now where it's moved back is going to be already on the lawn that's already been, when the house was originally built, that was all grass. So most of the building is on that. The only part that's going to be really disturbed that's not already previously done is going to be just under the tree line there, which is just a very little corner of the building.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so back to my original question, do we have a plan to remediate what's going to be disturbed so that we are at a net zero?
Well, toward that end of providing benefit compared to the existing conditions, again, we're proposing an infiltration area receiving roof runoff from the existing house where there is none right now. We don't have a plan at this time, but I guess that's, again, we're not closing this meeting out no matter what, because DEP hasn't issued a file number. But we're trying to determine what is the applicant's possible roadmap or path to an approval. And you're suggesting that he should show an in-kind turnover of other area to natural condition.
Correct. And I am just one member, but I mean, if we're in the riverfront, we should be looking for a zero sum loss, zero sum loss. So, I mean, you figured out how much disturbance we're going to be with the new plan. What do we have to put it back to zero loss?
Understand your point.
Thank you. That's it for now, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich. First, I'll call on Rich Tremblay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. James, access to this barn, I'm looking for the driveway. I don't see it on the diagram, or am I just missing it?
No, I'm sorry, that's my fault that the lines are very faint. I'm running the cursor over it right now. You see the proposed contour, 319, 318. There's a little bit of 317 here to indicate a local low point of the driveway, of the gravel drive. Then
Is
318.
this a CAD drawing or is this a PDF that you're showing?
This is a PDF.
If it's, oh, okay, so you don't have the ability of putting that in different colors for us to see.
Yeah, I apologize. I was actually wowed by Mr. Roy, Mr. Roy doing the highlighting. But I apologize. I should have made the blue here much thicker. I apologize. Just doesn't come up very well. But it's where I'm running the cursor. This is the driveway path here.
Okay, we have a width.
Sorry.
How wide is the driveway?
It's 12 feet at the opening here, widening out to I believe it's 20 right at the building here.
And are we changing grades in this area?
Somewhat, because this grade right now goes from just off the pavement at 320, drops down to a 316 in this area here, and then kind of we'd be meandering along at that same 316 to the front of the proposed garage. What we're going to do is make that drop more gradual from 320 to over here 317 local low, and then up to 319 as proposed on the floor elevation of the garage. So we're changing, this right here, a couple feet. Again, at the center line, a couple feet, but there's slope from right to left, and we're going to be, flattening this out.
And that won't impact that septic system that you said was right up there, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
You said the septic system was right up there on the side of that building. That won't, what you're doing, proposing with the grade change is not going to affect that?
We're actually raising it slightly. So we're not in any danger of having us not meet breakout from that septic system.
Okay.
Because right now, over the system, you see the PVC vent pipe for the system. The trenches are actually in here where I'm running the cursor back and forth. This goes 320, 19, 18, 17, 16, and we're in the future, it would go 320, 19, 18, stay at 18 across the driveway and then drop. So we're actually raising it slightly in this area here. So that, we're not going to have any danger of no longer meeting the breakout requirements of Title V.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have questions or comments from other commissioners? Okay, I'll open the floor to comments from members of the public. Okay, I am seeing no one with a raised hand from members of the public.
I guess then, Madam Chair, I have to ask to continue to your next meeting.
I have one other question, if I could.
Oh, of course.
So just so I understand also in what you're saying that we could give back also, is that going to be like the whole area of the building, Or would that be just of what we're gonna do under the tree line? Because where everything is already disturbed, is already, you know, it's my lawn, basically. It's not, we're not really cutting into any new woods area or anything like that. We'd just be digging up my grass.
I will, Rich Burst, do you want to take that?
Yes, for myself, it would be any new disturbance that's in the riverfront area.
Okay.
So I'm still not sure though what new disturbance meaning, like the whole footprint of the building, where I have to replace that somewhere else, or just the new stuff that, you know, that is not my lawn.
So from what it sounded like, it was described, the building itself is being put into the breakout grading, so that would already be pre-disturbed. Am I correct?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that's how you
breakout.
described where you moved the building to?
Yeah, the breakout is basically, it's a hill that goes down. My side yard is 2 levels, the
Yep.
upper level where the septic is, and then it goes down a hill to my backyard, which basically the tree line, all of that is all, that's my lawn. It's all, I've been mowing it since I bought the house 12 years ago. And it's been that since it was
Okay.
built. So that was my question, what is like, so the new area that, you know, that I'd have to plant more trees or something like that. Are we talking about the area that's going to be under the tree line that's really not on my lawn? So it would only be, you know, whatever, I don't know, just guessing, you know, a few hundred square feet or 4,500 square feet. I'm a little confused on that. That's all.
I would get just.
For myself, it's just the area.
That's newly disturbed.
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to verify that. So I'm not thinking, oh my God, I got to, you know, half the backyard, we're going to plant trees now. What's happening? But okay.
But again, that's for myself. I'm just one member.
Yeah.
Others may want to see, you know, complete remediation for all of the impervious that you're putting in there.
Okay.
I'll let other commissioners chime in if they are looking for something different. I'm not seeing any other commissioners with their hands raised. Okay.
I think we've got some good feedback about where we should be going. We will make a revision to the plan, and hopefully we get a DEP file number for your next meeting. And I guess I again would just for procedural needs to ask for a continuance to that meeting.
Thank you, James. So it looks like I am looking for a motion to continue this to July 19th.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second, Madam Chairman. It's Jeff.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to a roll call vote. Rich Tremblay.
Aye.
Richard Bursch.
Aye.
Jeff Viviano.
Aye.
Mike LaRouche.
Aye.
An aye for myself. So this is continued to July 19th. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving along. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Kate Jackson for tree removal and maintenance at 1338 Lancaster Ave. Do we have the applicants or their representative here tonight?
Yes, I'm right here. I'm Kate.
I'm Patrick.
Welcome. Do you have something that you want to share with us, or do you want Anna to share?
Anna does have just some pictures, and she has a new plan that we provided.
Anna, can you share that for us?
Yep, I'm gonna share real quickly. On 1 second. Okay, so I'm just gonna note that what I'm sharing now is the revised. It's very similar to the previous one, but now, obviously previously the commission requested there to be trees removed and pruned instead of all the removals. So this plan shows what is to be removed and what is pruned. I also will note for the commissioners in the Google Drive, there's a new folder that has pictures of trees that I went on the property and re-tagged. And it's going to be a little confusing. So previously the trees were flagged with pink and yellow ribbon. When I went out, we reflagged them, but didn't take the old flagging down. So the red flagging that you see on trees is to be removed, and the white flagging is for limbing or pruning of the trees. And that's for the commission's reference on those pictures. There's a lot of pictures in that folder that I've provided. But again, this is the revised plan and show those differences.
And can somebody remind me how far it is from that first tree that has the measurement line to the wetland?
I can remind, so on this plan, it says 85 to the stream. That's not considered the bordering vegetation. So when I first went out and measured that, that is about 67, 68 feet to the bordering vegetation for that stream. And that's that first tree that is the closest to that brook right there.
Okay. Do you have those photos? Can you show us one of those photos, Anna, that you just referred to with the red and the white
Yeah,
flagging?
let me back out of here. Let me see. I'm going to choose. I want to make sure I choose a good kind of reference. So like, see all this pink flagging. I know it's kind of similar colors, unfortunately, but these pink flags are old. They're the old ones. So this red flag is the newer flags, and that's to be the trees to be removed. And also I will note the older flags have been removed. It's just when I was there previously to do the new flagging, we just didn't remove them that day, but they are now removed. So it should be just the red and the white flags. But let me just, see the yellow tape, ignore the yellow. The red is the current. Let me see if I can find any white flags for you just to note. Sorry if it's lagging at all. There's a lot of photos, I'm sorry. Okay, so like here to the right, the tree on the right that has white flagging, that is a tree to be limbed. So ignore the pink flagging. And then the tree to the left has a red flag on it, that's to be removed.
Okay, and Anna, do we have any photos that show the proximity of the canopy to the house or the other structures?
Yeah, I'm just gonna scroll through these pictures and see. So here's one of some of those trees that are really close to the house. They're like pretty much, and these are all red maples, by the way, and they're all reaching out to the side of the yard to get as much sun as possible. So these are ones leading to the house. Sorry that I'm just gonna be scrolling through. This is the pine that is the closest to the 85 feet to the stream itself. That one was to be originally removed, but we kind of made do with just extremely limbing that tree. A lot of the lower branches are dead. But this is further out towards the shed, or there's a shed and a little overhang for cars. A lot of those at the previous meeting, the commissioners really didn't or said that they were open to having these trees removed near these structures just because they're very close and overhanging. Yeah, so these are a lot of the maples that are overhanging onto the yard. Let me try and see if I can get better photos of relation to the house. And if not, I can go back to the previous pictures that we took at the first site visit. But for now, I'm just going to be kind of scrolling. Okay. So here's more of the trees that are hanging. Or so like a lot of these trees, and again, when I went on the second site walk to reflag these trees, honestly, all these trees and like how tall they are, if they were to fall, which their direction, if they were to fall, would go directly into the yard, and they're tall enough where they would just go right onto the porch, and definitely onto the back of that house, if they were to fall. And again, when I went out, I looked at every single tree and, really kind of went back and forth on like, we can definitely get away with limbing this tree. It's been good. It's been better health, less likely to, fall, or unlike other trees where it shows obvious damage, and a lot of them are multi-stem as well. Reds can be resilient, but they also lose a lot. And a lot of the times the leaders on them die off and can cause damage.
And so Anna, the trees that are marked in red, in your opinion, they're all damaged or dying?
Yes, and in my honest opinion, and just from my knowledge in tree health in general, and pests in trees, and just the behavior of red maples, especially, these trees, are not in good health, and they're gonna snap and fall at some point, especially these leaders. And a lot of the trees I noticed as well, which this is because they're on the edge, a lot of the limbs are out towards the yard because they're reaching for the sun. So I'm also thinking of, if we were to limb a lot of these trees, there would be nothing left of these trees. Honestly, like on the backside, there's no really any limbs. It would just be kind of the top part. And at that point, there's a lot of dead limbs. And if you were to limb that tree, it wouldn't make it, or it would just slowly die at that point. But again, we did save a good amount, or we tried to as much as possible. As far as numbers, originally the number of trees that they wanted to have removed, I believe, was 28. Right now it's to remove 19 and to prune 9 of the trees. And after I go through these pictures, I can bring up that diagram again to show you exactly what what trees were.
Yeah, before you leave the pictures, Anna, let me see if any of my fellow commissioners have any questions about the photos. I want to go back and look at anything. Right, I'm not hearing anything. So yeah, it'd be nice for me if you went back to the diagram again now.
Yeah, so the circles are for the trees to be limbed. So obviously, I think, again, this is from last meeting when the commissioner said, a lot of the trees that are near these structures here in the back of the yard, they're all pretty much overhanging both of these structures. And even if we were to limb some of them, realistically, the arborist going in and trying to get only some trees, there's going to be casualties and going in with that. So we definitely went in and kind of said okay to these. There's one tree in the front here that, you know, we're gonna definitely try and save. It's in good health. But, you know, obviously, you know, going in and trying to get these trees behind, hoping that there's no casualty with this tree, with limbing. There's this cluster here that we're limbing. And I know a lot, the commissioners also wanted not to have as many trees down here taken down. So there is a cluster like here of trees that are gonna be taken down that they're actually really small, like trees, like maybe 5 to 6 inches in diameter, and they're dead. They're like actually dead. So that cluster is being removed. But these other ones, you know, definitely could limb because they're in good health. And so they are overhanging. So we're gonna try and like trim up those overhanging limbs and try to save those trees. And again, the tree at the end, which is that pine, is going to be saved as well. It's not going to be taken down as well.
Thank you, Anna. That answers all of my questions. I'll open the floor to my fellow commissioners for their questions. I'll call on Mike LaRouche.
Yes, Madam Chair. Is there a plan to replace any of these 19 trees that are being removed? Or is it strictly a removal and saving of 10 trees on this proposal?
There was no plan to replant. It was just to maintain the yard and in a safe manner. You know, we really don't want the trees that close to the house. You know, as they do, there's still going to be plenty there that are tall. There's still plenty of trees there anyway, and there was no plan for that at the moment.
And also, I will say, like, they're obviously not going to be taking out the stumps or anything. The stumps will be left, and then wood chips would be left as well. There's no expansion of the yard. That's not the intention for the applicants either. It's strictly just removing those trees just because they pose a threat to the house, and also the other structures in the area. And they also are just dying trees and just have, you know, constant falling limbs at that point.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other commissioners that have any questions or comments? I'll call on Rich Birch.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Anna, just a quick question. The two statements you made that the stumps are to remain and no expansion of the lawn area. Are those two statements in the application?
They are not. They're pretty much just from what I have conversed with the applicant, and we can make obviously those conditions, or they could submit another, you know, narrative of sorts saying that they will keep the stumps and leave wood chips as well. But no, it wasn't in a written statement. It was just on a speaking level with the applicants.
Oh, thank you.
We did mention it at the first meeting too.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'll open the floor to members of the public. Any questions or comments? And I will again note that Conservation Commission can't give you permission to cut down trees on somebody else's property. You have to get written permission from them for that. So while we may grant permission based on our jurisdiction, which is the Wetlands Protection Act and the municipal bylaws, you can't touch those trees until you have permission from the homeowner, and specifically
Madam
23
Chair.
Gibson Street. Yes. Anna?
So I did receive, so Patrick did get a letter from that property owner, and it's in the office as well.
Excellent.
Guys, if it's not in the drive, I was sure that I uploaded, but we have a written consent letter from that property owner that he is permitted to remove those trees on that property.
Excellent. Thank you for that clarification, Anna. Okay. I don't see no questions or comments from anybody, so I think I'm looking for some motions here.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion for a negative determination with the added statements that all stumps are to remain in the ground and there will be no expansion of the lawn area.
So moved.
Second.
Actually, I think it was my motion, so somebody seconds it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I captured Rich.
I meant to
Rich
say
Tremblay.
second and not so moved, so I apologize.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit, dark out there, right? So I guess it's getting late.
Not in Michigan.
all right. No, not in Michigan. I'm in Vermont, but it's getting a little dark here. Anyway, we'll go to a roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay. So that closes that hearing.
Thank you.
Moving along to 131 Island Road. Pursuant to Mass General Law 131, Section 40 as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a request for determination of applicability by Michael Mascarelli for tree removal at 131 Island Road. We have the applicants or their representative here tonight.
Yes, I'm here, Madam Chair. Thank you. And thank you to the board members. I just want to review on how we got here from 2 weeks ago when we came to you about a lot of severe damage to our home and our automobiles from surrounding trees that are very close to our house and our driveway. And we had asked, for permission of the removal of the trees. I guess understanding what was brought to me from you folks, there were three main concerns that you kind of brought up. First on my diagram was my setback lines. They were straight across. So I've done a little bit of work on that to kind of revamp those to follow the, what I'm hoping is what you're looking for, following the water line on those setbacks, the 30, the 50, and the 100. I also understood that you had some concern about one of the trees that was maybe inside of that 50 area, and after really double measuring that and really taking a good look at it, you're right. And this is the tree that is in question there. It is a split tree. This is at the base. It probably comes up at about the 3-foot mark and splits. And as you can see, it's getting down through the bark now, and the inside's pretty rotted on that. I would say probably that line, that 50-foot setback probably goes right between the two of them, putting that first one inside of the 50 and the second one outside of the 50. What I've also understood from you folks was concern about loss of canopy. And trying to address that. I've talked to a couple of people with some suggestions, and I've actually taken a set of trees, 3 trees in the corner of the house that I was looking to take down, and I've taken those off the plan. So I'd be willing to leave those in the plan for now. They're not leaning towards the house. They can certainly be limbed, and I think that would be a good answer for some of the canopy there. I've also talked to some folks about some new plantings. It is a small lot, it's just under a 1/4 acre. And I'm thinking right now what you're seeing are the dark green squares. That probably is where I can probably place 6 new trees, which I'm very accepting to. I have no issues with that. Also, some privacy hedging that we'd like to do to hopefully help with lack of canopy that might have some washing. We are looking to put some privacy hedging on the side and then a hedging that would follow a walkway down to the water. And, you know, that's probably in the ballpark of 30 to 60 plantings, blueberries, forsythias, or whatever that is suggested to us. I mean, certainly agreeance with that. So I guess after it's all said and done and we've revised this plan, and I have not forwarded it to Anna, and I apologize because I just got it finished last night. So I certainly can forward it to whoever needs to see it further, or if somebody has to come on out and take a look. But right now, the trees that I'm showing in red are the ones that I have concern about, which would be the removal of 9 trees. I think there's 9 that I had counted. That one inside the 50, and then the rest would be, the other 8 would be in the 50 to 100 area.
Thank you. I apologize. I didn't capture your name. I know your last name, but
Michael
your first name?
Masciarelli. Michael.
Michael.
Yeah.
So thank you for that detail and listening to our recommendations. I really like what you've done there. For me, what I would like to see as kind of, you know, a slight change is where you have trees, to differentiate between the trees and the shrubs, and to actually say what trees you would go back with, right?
Yep.
And for me, it would be okay if you said, I'm either going to go with a red maple here, or, you know, another native tree, like, you know, or a birch or whatnot. And then for the ones that are going to be bushes, to just say what you're going to put there, right? And again, as long as you're being specific, I'm just one commissioner, right? But I would want you to be specific. This is either going to be arborvitae or blueberry bushes. We haven't decided yet. That's specific and measurable. And that's what I would be looking for as a further clarification. But I can see that you paid attention to us, and I do really appreciate that. I do have one question for you on where you have your house footprint. Is that your existing house, or does that include the, I think you said you were hoping next year to expand your house?
I took off the proposed addition. That's a plan for next summer. That was going to be coming off of the left-hand side of the house, is where the proposed addition was be. And I kind of took that out because that's really not, that's a future plan right now. So I'm not overly concerned about that. And that really has effect of that one very, very large pine. It's right up against the house.
Yeah.
That if that's gone, that would really open up. And then maybe one of those 3 trees at the point. It's probably a 6 foot coming out off the house at the time, but we'll go through all the correct channels when that time comes, and make sure we have it all brought to you folks and the other boards that we need to address it with.
Okay, fair enough. I don't have any other questions. I'll open it to my fellow commissioners for questions or comments. Okay, and I'm not seeing any hands raised from my commissioner colleagues, so I will open it to members of the public. Okay. So then I think what I'm looking for is I think really what I'm looking for here is a motion for negative determination. Actually, I wonder if we would be better off continuing this and allowing the applicant time to add those notes on the specific varieties that they were planning to add back, and then also making the differentiation between what's going to be vegetative bushes and whatnot versus trees.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Because that would be the next step that I would, get a professional that would kind of give me, what you're looking for there and numbers wise too, as far as, what that would do. So that would give you a real good idea of what we're placing. I know that your next meeting is in 2 weeks, I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's on the 19th, but, you can ask for that, or you can ask for a later date if that's what you prefer.
Okay, just because we'll be on vacation on that 19th, so I would probably look for that first meeting of August or something that I would present that to you if that was okay with you folks.
August 2nd
Yeah, that
is
would be,
the next meeting after that.
yeah, that would be fine for me.
So, okay, very good. So, and if something comes up and you can't, and you need to delay, you can just call the office.
Yep, all right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, it sounds like I'm looking for now a vote or a motion to continue this hearing to August 2nd.
So
So
move.
moved. Second.
Okay, it sounds like Jeff Viviano got in there first with the motion, and the second I'm going to give to Rich Bursch.
Perfect.
Very good, thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. See you in
Roll call
August.
vote.
Oh, roll call
Oh,
vote.
yeah.
Thank you. I was getting ahead of myself. Rich, you're keeping me honest. Thank you. All right. Okay, a roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
and I for myself.
All right, thank you,
And
everybody.
Now we're done. Thank you. Okay, we'll move along to the next hearing, 1074 Lancaster Ave. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended, in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on the notice of intent by Dan Proctor for the construction of a replacement septic system at 1074 Lancaster Ave. Do we have the applicant or his representative here tonight?
Madam Chair, Greg Roy, Dillison Roy, I'm representing the applicant this evening.
Hi, Greg.
And I think, my knowledge, I think I presented this 2 weeks ago, and we were really just waiting on a DEP file number, which ended up coming about 12 hours after we finished the meeting. Day late, a dollar short as usual. So we do now have the DEP file number. I think it's 1298, and there were no comments associated with it.
There were no comments. Okay.
Confirmed.
All right. I don't have any further questions. I'll open it to my fellow commissioners. Are there any questions or comments? Are there any members of the public that have questions or comments? Okay, I would entertain motions.
I would make the motion to approve the application as presented.
Second, Richard.
Okay, so motion by Richard Bursch and a second by Richard Tremblay. Roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
and I for myself. So that is an approval on the notice of intent for 1074 Lancaster Ave.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, moving along. We're now at 205 Sunset Lane. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg's Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Larry Cofferin and Marcia Beers for the relocation of an existing deck at 205 Sunset Lane. Do we have the applicant or their representative here tonight?
Go ahead, Anna.
I received an email from their representative, and they are requesting a continuance to the July 19th meeting.
Okay, July 19th. Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Who made the first, who made the motion? Was that Jeff?
No, it's Mike. I have a
Mike.
trick voice. I can represent two people with my voice skills, but it is me.
Jeff is going to be in trouble. And then I think the second was by Richard Burke. Did I get that
Yep.
one right?
Yep.
Did I mention that it's really hot and muggy up here in Vermont?
It must be.
All right, so roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
aye for myself. We are continuing this to July 19th. Right, that gets us to the end of our hearings. All righty then. So we're not going to have any updates on timber rights. I don't think we should be doing the definition of rivers tonight. We have any other topics that we don't have on the formal agenda that have just come up, the topics unknown 48 hours in advance of the meeting? I see Anna has her hand raised.
Hi, yeah, so in regards to any new business, not on my end, but I just wanted to ask if we could adjust the timeline of like our topics for tonight, as far as we do have a notice of project change. And I just wanted to see if we could move it next, just for the benefit of who is speaking for this, just because it is later on, and we do have a few different business items as far as determinations and certificate of compliances as well.
That is an excellent idea, Anna. Which is the notice of project change?
Is for 406 Sunset Lane, and Greg Roy would be representing.
Yeah, here I am again.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, I wondered why you didn't drop. Now we know.
Yeah, yeah. I can't get enough,
Okay,
can't get
what,
enough of you guys.
What are you here to talk to us about then?
Yeah, so I'll try to make this as brief as possible. I know it's late and you have more on. Can I share my screen for a minute? Would that be acceptable?
Yes,
Madam
please
Chair?
do.
Okay. While I'm doing this, I do have the applicant, Nancy Milady is also on the call as well, just for the record.
Hello.
And again, my name is Greg Roy with Dillson Roy, and I am representing Nancy this evening. And I can't do two things at once, so I apologize for my lack of concentration. All right, can you folks see the screen with the plan?
That's really small.
How about now? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. I can do it. I can change it on my end too.
I don't know how to
There's
make
just
it.
a lot
any-
of black space around it for some weird reason. It could be
Yeah.
a local problem too.
I don't know how to make that better.
That's okay. We
Okay.
won't. Nobody else is complaining about it, so let's push forward.
All right, so we came before the commission earlier this year to request an order of conditions for the construction of a proposed house addition, which is shown here in the dark rectangular box. And also the construction of the replacement of, excuse me, the retaining walls on the property, which are all made out of railroad ties, probably better than 40 years ago, that are fairly deteriorated. And the commission granted an order of conditions for that work, and the applicant has proceeded with construction. They have been issued a building permit, and they are now working on the site work. Trees have been cleared, and the existing deck has been removed for the construction of the foundation. And as they were working on constructing the foundation, it sort of dawned on them that while they have an access, so just to back up a little bit, we are proposing a full foundation under this unfinished basement under this particular under the new addition. And there is an access down, a staircase down to that basement, of course, inside the structure, inside the proposed inside the building. But it dawned on the applicants that they intend to use that for like the storage of kayaks and things like that, watercraft and accessories that you'd use on the lake, and that it sure would be nice to have a walkout door at the basement level that they could access to access that those type of things, kayaks and those kind of things. So as it turns out, from a grading standpoint, there isn't much that's really required other than to sort of tweak the way we're proposing to do the retaining wall. So what I ended up doing here was providing you a redlined plan, so you can see in red here. Well, actually in black, you can see where my cursor is. This is the location where the existing and the proposed wall is going to be reconstructed according to the plan that you folks approved several months ago. What we would like to do is, instead of running that wall straight, we'd like to just take that wall and bend it into the foundation. And then the same thing here, there's an existing fireplace that we want to save. And then we run a retaining wall from that fireplace directly into the side of the foundation, and lower this grade in between so that we can get a walkout door at the basement level. And it would require a few steps. So in the location where we were proposing this wall, we would put a few risers right there to get up to the proper grade from this lower terraced area. So really, other than the addition of putting these two wing walls in and lowering that grade, it's really not much of a difference. One thing we did do is to incorporate some additional mitigation plantings. The applicant is looking to plant some additional shrubs and some ground cover. So we did memorialize that on the plan. So you can see these red circles that we have here. We're proposing, and I did update the planting plan. We're proposing some azaleas and some ground cover, periwinkle ground cover in that area. It's quite steep in this area. And so we had looked when we were on site actually with Anna early on. We looked to committed to revegetating that area. So we wanted to memorialize that on this at this stage. So that's it. I'm happy to take any questions. I guess I'm hopeful that the commission will find that that this could be considered a minor change and not require an amended order of conditions. But I'm certainly happy to answer any questions or take any comments.
Greg, I lost Zoom right mid dialogue there.
Okay.
But so for my benefit, could you tell me, are you taking out additional trees?
We had to take out, and this happened early on. I'm not sure if we ran this over with Anna. when we were excavating, well, prior to excavation, these two trees, these green trees right here, I think those are the ones. We're not going to make it after we excavated the foundation. It's the way that this plan really doesn't do it justice, but they were really close. And the way that when you excavated behind them, there was just no way those trees were going to make it. So those trees ended up having to be removed. We did run that over with Anna and had committed to adding additional mitigation plantings to accommodate that, which is one of the reasons why we're proposing the additional plantings to you now.
I'll open the floor to my fellow commissioners for commentary. And since I've lost the video feed, I need you to just tell me if you want to make a comment, because I can't see hands.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just had just wanted Greg to clarify, you're submitting this as a field change, Greg?
Yeah, that's our proposal, Rich. We're hopeful that you will agree. And
construction has already started, so time is of the essence.
That's correct, Rich. Yeah, they're actually, I believe, Nancy can correct me if I'm wrong, they poured some of the foundation today, so they're trying to.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Madam Chair.
We didn't want to
I-
we did not want to just
stopped.
do it and ask for permission. We wanted to come before your board, and we had a very small window to do so, and we appreciate Anna getting us on the agenda quickly tonight.
Well, thank you, Greg. Your professionalism is always appreciated, and I have no problem accepting this as a field change, as it's really no change at all to the overall aspect of the project.
Do any other commissioners have questions or comments?
Rich Tremblay, Madam Chair.
Rich Tremblay, please proceed.
Greg, just a quick question. I'm sure you covered it, but I missed it. In between the area of change here, you're going to have a couple of rises come up out of the water. And then what's going to be on the ground heading back to the opening?
Yeah, great question. Actually, there's a terrace, so the water is actually down below this wall, Rich. This is actually lawn area now, so it's sort of another terraced area that we're talking about. So you'd have the actual lake wall here, and then there's lawn, which we propose to maintain as lawn, and then we would have the risers up into this next terrace, if you will, up to the walkout door, and that would be lawn as well. We would just propose to restore that with a grass material.
Very good, thank you. All set, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Rich. Any other questions or comments by my fellow commissioners? Any questions or comments by members of the community? Okay, it sounds like I'm accepting motions to approve this field change.
So moved.
Second.
And Richard,
Okay, I think I heard I heard a motion by Rich Bursch, and I think the second was Mike LaRouche. He wasn't throwing his voice. Did I get that right?
Was. Yeah, that
You
is
did.
correct.
You did.
Okay. All right, so let's do a roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right,
Great.
the field change is approved. Thank you.
Thank you
Greg.
very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Anna, thanks for making the recommendation to move them up to the top of the new business agenda. We want to be respectful of people's time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything new under, okay, so under old business, I have just the standard grant application proposal. We did get the grant. At least we got the nod from the state of Massachusetts, which is awesome. And this was for free parking areas and conservation land. We have to wait for the wheels of bureaucracy to grind through. And the state gives the recommendation to the feds, and then the feds actually have to anoint the grant and give it the final approval. Then we can move into contract execution, which usually takes us up until the end of the year. So that's where we are with the grant. One small step in progress, so that's good. Did we want tonight to talk about the first refusal of Lot 4 Leominster Road? I know we had Bob had broached this topic last meeting, and we decided, I think in the interest of time, because we were running really late that evening, to move it to this week. I think I was the only voice on the group that was interested in considering whether we should opt in and try to go for that piece of property. And I've heard a lot of commentary both at the Open Space Planning Committee, and then also Bob kind of talked through his rationale for not wanting to put the Conservation Commission forward for trying to go after that lot as well. And so I'm inclined actually to agree with the commentary that I've heard, especially since the property owner is not necessarily amenable to us taking over ownership or going after purchasing ownership for that lot. It is on the Catacootamog. I'm very interested in the Catacootamog and protecting that, as well as Mulpus Brook, any other major feeder into our lakes that we have, but that's not the most strategic parcel to go after. And I think it would consume a lot of resources and may ultimately not go in our favor if we were to pursue that. So I'm not inclined. Is anybody else interested in putting forward a concern to or an interest in going after Lot 4 on Leominster Road, or was I the sole voice of dissent in that dialogue? Nobody's arguing with me. And again, Zoom video is not working for me right now. So if anybody has an interest in talking about this, please just speak up. Are we in a position to, I think the motion would be to, I don't know what the formal motion would be, to not pursue Lot 4 on Leominster Road.
I would make a motion, Madam Chair, that we inform the Board of Selectmen that the Conservation Commission is not interested in pursuing Lot 4 at this time.
Thank you, Rich. Do we have a second?
Second, Mike.
Mike, thank you. Let's go for a roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, moving along. Anna, do we have any updates on any of the encroachment issues?
No updates on my end. I haven't heard anything from these property owners. I know the letters have been sent out, but nothing has been heard back from the office at all.
Okay, any updates on Hollis Road?
Yes, Madam Chair, I met with Chris Ruth. We brought a contractor out there to take a look at the building to see what it might cost to paint the trim. And that would be one proposal. The second proposal would be paint the rest of the house, which we've figured out that it is painted, yes, a painted wood that would do well, cedar. It would paint very well. And also the, it looked like some of the, to do some painting of the back of the foundation looked like it needed some paint. So he's preparing a proposal from the contractor that has 3 particular items. I let him know how much we might have in the Hawes fund for this project. And he was hoping to get an estimate this week. So we'll see. The other piece is the pollinator habitats open house was postponed because of rain, but it's been rescheduled for Saturday, July 22nd, and the rain day, the 23rd, from 10 to noon. And also over the holiday, Rick Hilson and I installed a water reclamation system for the shed at Hollis Road that now every time it rains, we collect, let's see, 1,500 gallons of water. So that will assist, not that we've needed any water so far. We've had more than enough water this summer, but in case weather changes, and it does here in New England, we have an access to more water without having the fire department fill up our 2 large containers. So,
That's
that's
excellent.
it.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Anna, looks like we have 2 administrative determinations.
Yes, I will share my screen, which unfortunately I know you won't be able to see. I just have a few pictures, but I'll try and be very descriptive. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. So this first administrative determination is for 45 Island Road. So this property owner, they had sent some pictures to the office for a birch tree that had broken in half. It's directly on the water. It's like less than 5 feet from the water line. It had broken during one of the winter storms, and they had so it was the top part of the tree was going like into the lake, so it had broken in half, and they went ahead and kind of cut off that piece that was like in the water. And so then I went to the property and kind of just looked at what exactly it looked like now after that fact. So definitely the other half of that tree is just the top part is gone. And the rest of it is just kind of, in the midst of other trees, some oaks and other shrubs. This kind of like splits the 2 properties. But this property owner just wants to remove that one birch tree that is in that kind of cluster of other vegetation and trees. This birch is probably, I would say, like 5 inches in diameter. Not in great health, obviously, because it's snapped, but you know, it's kind of just one tree. More likely would just fall in the water if it would have fallen, but the homeowner is just requesting to remove that tree, which again was broken in half during the winter storm.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or concerns?
So Anna, this is Richard. They're only going to remove that birch tree, the rest of the birch tree. Is that true?
Yeah, so they're going to that since that one birch tree it broke, they removed that top half because it was pretty much it was in the water from that first picture I showed. Yeah, they're just gonna remove like the rest of that birch tree, and obviously they're gonna leave and I confirmed that they're gonna leave the stump and everything. It's just kind of just in the midst of other trees, but they just want to get rid of it since it's gonna eventually die off.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So I have a question that's directed at my fellow commissioners. I think in cases where we have like natural tree die off that's adjacent to the wetland within 30, do we generally just allow natural attrition? I mean, it seems like if we were to do that, we'd eventually end up with no trees in these yard areas. Is that the norm? Okay, can anybody hear me?
There we go. Yeah, so Madam Chair, so we take it on a case-by-case basis, and if there's enough other vegetation in there to fill back in, I personally don't have a big issue with taking out the damaged trees because they're not taking out the stumps, and you will get grow back both from the stumps and the other trees that are in the area will do better due to the added exposure to the sun. And I'm
Fair enough. Thank you, Rich. And so in this particular case, there's not a lot of vegetation in there. I don't know how much the birch was shading.
Yeah, Mary, there's like a clump of trees that the birch was growing right up through, and it broke and half went in the water. And they just want to take out the second half, but there's still quite a clump of trees in there. It's going to revegetate.
Okay. So if there are no other comments from my peer commissioners, then I think we're just looking for an approval.
I'd make a motion to approve the administrator's determination to remove the one damaged limb. Because it looks like it's one tree out of 2 or 3 birch that are in there. Is that correct, Anna?
Yeah, it's just that one birch, just the top half broke off, and they're just gonna remove that one limb that broke.
Yep. In my estimation, there's more than enough vegetation in there that will fill in without a problem.
Yeah.
But to your point, Mary, if it was one tree and we needed other, I would certainly recommend that we replace in that condition. But in this instance, no.
Thank you, Rich.
Second,
Do we have a second on that motion? Second.
second by Mike. Did you hear
Okay,
me?
roll
Madam
call
Chair?
vote. I did
Okay.
hear you, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Okay,
Anna, next.
there is another administrative determination. Let me just switch with my other folder real quick. Where is it? 2, 6. All right. So for this administrative determination is for 246 Prospect Street. The property is actually so waterfront, so it's kind of like the beach area and docking area for this property. The property owner wants 5 trees to be removed, and obviously I'm gonna give a little context on that, but I'm gonna kind of scroll through these pictures and get the main tree of concern kind of. Okay, so the biggest tree on this lot is kind of like a long strip of just a lot of trees. It's a good mixture of oaks and maples, some ash, but there is a very large red maple that is definitely in the 30. That is almost completely dead. The lower half of it still has some live limbs. It splits like a little bit higher up, but one of the halves is hollowed out. Let me just scroll and find a better picture of the tree itself and showing that the rest of the tree is dead. Sorry, it's a lot of pictures I'm kind of scrolling through. And obviously this tree is older, has some healed holes that are near the base, kind of hollowed out. Let's see. And also a closer inspection of the tree when I was on site. Definitely a lot of carpenter damage, obviously, because trees dying. There's a lot of different places for the ants to go in. But yeah, this picture shows the whole tree. It's dead. There's no leaves in the top of that canopy. It's no longer providing any type of canopy cover, except maybe like one limb that's kind of providing. But I know there's an oak tree that's not far. But so this is the largest tree on that lot that is going to be, or is proposed to be removed. It's definitely over 12 inches in diameter. It's a large tree. Again, it's pretty much almost dead. And so, let's see if I can find other pictures of the trees. There's other trees proposed. So another one is this. Also, I will state the rest of the trees are all ashes, and they're under 6 inches in diameter, and they're all dead. Just because ashes in this region notoriously just don't survive to a older age, and even the older ash trees are dying out because of emerald ash borer. But these ash trees, I don't believe had EAB. It's just more of they just weren't thriving in that environment, so they're just dying off. So there's 2 ash trees that are behind this the larger red maple that is proposed to be removed. It's kind of behind and up against the fence, the road that are, yeah. So this picture shows them. They're kind of along the fence. They're both dead. I also took up a picture of the canopy. There's no canopy. There's no leaf present. And the same with, it was kind of hard to see, and I apologize that these trees weren't flagged, but it's kind of the same. There's 2 smaller ash trees. One is kind of like actually growing up against the fence right here, or even growing into the fence. But yeah, there's just 2 more dead ash trees in on the property along the fence as well. And to repeat, it would be 4 small dead ash trees to be removed, and then the larger red maple, which is, and all of these trees are not providing any type of canopy, just due to them being dead, no leaf cover at all. The larger tree, I believe, is more of a concern just because of how it's leaning, and if one of those larger limbs were to fall or the leader to fall, it would land on their dock or any boats that are docked. So for that property owner, that was the main concern, was that red maple.
Thank you, Anna. And so the proposal is just to take them out and not do any replacement?
So I discussed that with the applicant, and there is a good amount of trees on that lot. A lot of, again, there's pines and maples and oaks. I think what their idea is, they really want to see more blueberry, just because there's other understory veg that is growing, especially underneath the maple. If plantings are, proposed, they are really open to it, but I think they really wanted to restore the understory of this and do more blueberry plantings, just because I think that's what they have more interest in.
Do you have a photo that kind of shows the canopy at all, or no?
Of the red maple?
Yeah, well, of this
of the lot
parcel.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop sharing really quick, and I'm gonna go to near map if you don't mind, and I can try and bring up a better.
By the way, I did get my Zoom back.
Okay, good.
Madam Chair, while Anna looks that up, I personally would rather see this application be presented as an RDA.
Okay.
This is a fairly sensitive area. It's just a narrow strip. The trees provide quite a bit of protection to the bank. The maple itself is in the bank. It produces quite a bit of shade for the fish in the lake. And I'm concerned the people that own the lots, the houses are on one side of the street and their access to the lake is on the other side. And generally, it was only supposed to be a 4-foot or so path to get from the roadway down to their dock. In looking at the pictures that Anna has, I see a plastic shed in place there. And a number of these lots are slowly clearing and trampling the understory. So this is actually a situation that would mirror what you were concerned about in the last determination, that we should be replacing trees that are taken out and trying to make sure that the bank is preserved in this area, and the tree overstory is preserved as well.
Thank you, Rich.
So if anybody gets a chance to drive by there, unfortunately, they're just, the understory is just getting taken out, and it was just supposed to be a 4-foot or so pathway to get down to their docks.
Yeah, that's what
And I
I've
think
observed in that area as well.
Yeah, because I know this picture here is probably, the one that Anna has is probably a year or 18 months old.
Yeah, it's from July 30th, 2022, so not crazy old.
Yeah, so I myself, of course, I'm only one member, but I would recommend this be filed as an RDA with remediation and things like that in place.
Is there a more recent picture, Anna, if you click down on the date?
That is, but it's, obviously during
it's
season, but
okay.
Other than the ones that she has on the drive.
Gotcha.
yeah.
No, I just mean on the near map. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I look in here at the pictures that she has, the understory's all been cut away.
Yeah,
There's chairs, there's sheds, there's a lot more clearing in here than just a 4-foot path through the gate to the dock. And I think picture 1621 actually shows it pretty good. If you bring that one back up, Anna.
1621.
Yep, image 1621.
All this right here, kind of.
I mean, you can see the understory's been completely cleared away. There's a plastic storage shed. There's a whole bunch of chairs, but all the understory is gone from this spot.
I don't see Anna sharing that. Is that, I see near map still. Could be me.
Well, actually, this is definitely a newer picture she's got here, so you can see more of the clearing in there.
Mm-hmm.
No, she just means on the Zoom. That picture's not shared. Yeah.
Oh, am I not sharing the picture?
No, you're
No.
looks like you're sharing the near map, which shows a little bit more,
Yeah.
but yeah, then the picture, the 1621 definitely shows more of the development in that area.
Oh, I
What
apologize.
it was.
I thought I was sharing
Hoping to
the.
see.
Hold on 1 second. All right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Any other comments from other commissioners? So I think we're looking for a motion here. And it sounds like maybe that in absence of other commentary, we're looking for a motion to deny this and recommend that they come back with a formal RDA.
So moved.
Second by Jeff.
Okay. Rich for the motion and Jeff for the second. Roll call vote. Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, going back to our agenda. I think that was the last of the administrative determinations.
It was, yes.
Okay, any certificates of compliance?
Yep, so there is 2 requests for certificate of compliance. I'm gonna share my screen again. Let me. Okay, this one is just the request letter that I'm sharing. This is for 290 New West Townsend Road. This is for septic at this property, the EP number 2081271. And a site visit has been done for this, and as well as I have obtained the as-built from the Board of Health as well. The site has been reseeded and stabilized and has met what was previously approved of. And that would be it for this septic for 290 New West Townsend Road.
Thank you, Anna. Any questions or concerns by members of the commission? Questions or concerns from members of the public? I think I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
So
by
moved.
Jeff.
By Mike? Or second by
Yeah, I
Mike?
heard Jeff as the motion and Mike as the second.
Yep.
We'll do a roll call vote. Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself. So we approve 290 New West Townsend Road Certificate of Compliance. Looks like 238 Fire Road 16 is next.
Yep, so if you guys can still see my screen, the request for certificate of compliance is for 238 Fire Road 16. Let me see, is this plan? Okay. So actually, let me go to the letter, the request letter. Again, this permit wasn't issued obviously when I was aboard, but this is for file number 208-1189. And this was for a construction of a single family home and a sewage disposal system and a driveway and associated grading. So this applicant or this permit also was issued in an enforcement order for needing to have mitigation, site grading and plantings for this. And so on this request, we have received the as-built, which has kind of an overlay. I'll try and zoom in as best as I can with what was originally proposed proposed, and then as well as the as-built. So kind of like off these descriptions, it kind of has like an as-built catch basin, as-built culverts, as-built retaining wall. But yes, so this applicant was did provide us with an as-built with an overlay of what was done and everything done in accordance, as well as what was needed from the enforcement order, which was the plantings and grading mitigation. And I'm gonna go back and scroll through some photos that they have also provided, along with me doing a site visit as well, but I'm going to use their photos. It's a driveway. Not loading, okay. Driveway. Everything reseeded and all the plantings and retaining wall. And apologize if I'm scrolling too fast. I'm just going through all these photos. Okay, that is it of the photos. And I can bring up the plan again. And to my knowledge, it looks to me that everything was done to what was previously permitted, as well as what the enforcement order entailed for them to do as far as mitigation. And yeah.
Okay, so Anna, your assessment is that everything has been done that was in the order of conditions and in the enforcement order?
Yes, yes, as far as, obviously looking at their overlay, but also looking at the previous plans. And then since I wasn't familiar with the project, I looked into like the enforcement order as well and what is need be for the grading and replantings and on the site visit, it, and the pictures as well provided, that it's well accounted for and done to those standards.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or concerns from members of the commission? Okay. Any questions or concerns from the, did I hear
Yeah, Madam Chair,
somebody?
I would request, and again, I'm just one member, but this was quite a complicated filing. And I would ask that the letter from the engineer of record state that the house was completed as permitted, not just general compliance. If there is any of the existing current conditions that are outside of the approved application, I would like to have a listing of that from the engineer.
That matches my memory of this one as well, Rich. I think that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, just more than just a general compliance. If there's something that they've noticed that's out of place, we should know about it prior to approving a order of conditions. I'm sorry, a certificate of compliance.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Any other commission questions or comments?
Madam Chairperson, this is Jeff. I guess like, what kind of list would you be looking for?
So
Like
actually,
a propane tank that's like outside or wasn't on the proposed, like things like that, or?
So I guess I did find it as I read down here. Proposed driveway crossing was constructed at 24
like
feet
2.5
rather than
feet
21 and
wide.
a half.
Yeah.
So that was filling.
I think we talked about that at length, though. And then the berm was replaced, which
Yeah, I see the berm on the as-built. I guess I just would like to have a meeting to review it myself, because I was on site and I do remember quite a bit of this. And they also have to file a concurrent request with DEP, as DEP issued a superseding order of conditions, just to see if they noticed something that we might not.
Okay.
But there's just a lot on here for us lay people, so I would like a chance to look through it. I would request that we table this until the next meeting.
Okay, any other questions by members of the commission? I think that's Butch McGurn. Do you have your hand up?
I did, Madam Chair. If I may speak, Madam Chair.
Please speak.
I just did want to remind everybody that Nadia was out here last fall when she actually recommended that this project be awarded the certificate of compliance. It was just a follow-up of paperwork. Rich Birch, I will have the engineer of record change the word verbiage on the letter problem. I can understand why you want that. And then lastly, the plan that you have in front of you has been, that's an outdated plan. I don't know who the new agent is. What's your name? I'm sorry, I missed your name.
It's Anna.
Anna, I believe Brandon from Ross Associates sent you an updated plan. This plan is, I can see it really because there's a riprap fallout across the garage, which is not there. That was an earlier version when we had some of the, when I did some riprap when I wasn't supposed to, that has been replaced. So this is an older plan. So I would like that opportunity to send the correct plan for first and foremost. which I'll have him do. And then lastly, Rich, you're more than welcome to come out now too, if you'd like to. I know that you had a lot of involvement in here. I think you'd be quite pleased with everything and how well it's vegetated and how everything is filled in compared to where we were when we started the project. I know that I'm very pleased with everything. So if you'd like to, Rich, I could meet you out here at some point. That way you can get some better reassurances of things rather than looking at pictures and plans.
Yeah, super, Butch. I appreciate that. I'll try to get in contact with you this weekend when I get back, just to
If
take
you
a
don't-
look. I mean, like you said, I mean, it was a pretty complex project, and it's more than just a cursory review to just make sure that we've got it, all of our
Fully
Ts
understand.
crossed and our Is dotted.
Fully understand, and I can appreciate it. The only request I do have is if I could, I'm away this weekend on Saturday. If we could do it the following Saturday before the next meeting, that would be great. If I could request that date instead of this weekend.
Okay, well, let me see when I get back, and we'll go from there.
All right, sounds good. I believe you still have my number, right, Rich?
I do, yes.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much, Butch.
Yep, no problem.
Any other questions or comments? Looks like I'm entertaining a motion to continue this hearing to, where do we want to hear it? 7/19 or 8, because Rich, I don't think you're here on the 19th. Would be best
Yeah,
to
but
continue
I can have a
on-
narrative for the 19th if I do find anything. So
Okay,
it sounds like Butch has been pretty involved in making sure that this is done up to
Mhm.
snuff. So don't want to have to go
Okay, so
through
we're
any more of
looking-
that again. So perfect.
yeah, we're looking for a motion to continue to 7/19
So
to
moved.
allow the Apple. You want me to say what I thought you said? I think you guys are motivated.
No.
All righty. So that was a motion by Rich and a second by,
Second by Jeff.
Okay.
okay. Now I thought I heard both of you. It's not my imagination. I'm gonna go with Mike LaRouche again as our second. Roll call vote. Richard Tremblay,
Aye.
Rich Bursch,
All right.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and I for myself to continue this to 7/19.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, going back to our agenda. We don't have any updates on timber sales or the Howard Street driveway, nor do we have updates on conservation land improvements. Do we have any committee reports?
Madam Chair, if I could.
Yes, Anna?
I just wanted to bring up for the enforcements that we have. I know we've had these two properties on for a while. Obviously, the 205 stay on until we close that out. Though we have gotten correspondence from 23 Cove Road. They had sent an email saying that they had taken down the greenhouse and kind of whatever is like left of the takedown, they will be removing from the property. Well, they said that at the email, which was like last week or so they could have removed it by now. But when I did a site visit last week, I drove by and I can confirm that they have taken down the greenhouse at 23 Cove Road.
Very good. But they still have some actions remaining?
Yeah, just kind of, they completely disassembled it and it's kind of just left off in a pile, like they're going to transport it or store it somewhere else or get rid of it somehow.
Okay, so they need to move it out of the area.
Yeah.
Thank you for that update. So Anna, I think we're done with the formal agenda. Will you be with us? You won't be with us for our next meeting, will you?
I will not, unfortunately.
Well, I would like to thank you for the excellent work that you've done with us while you've been with the Conservation Commission. I'm really sad to see you go. You know, I know it's an excellent opportunity working for Tower Hill Botanical Garden. My mom was a botanist, and she absolutely loved it there. I can only imagine how much fun you're going to have. So, you know, take with you my congratulations, and I will definitely be looking forward to the personal tour when I'll give you a week to settle in, maybe two, but I'm looking forward to the personal tour. So thank you very much. We'll miss you, but congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate y'all's support.
Joanne, yes. Yep.
And yeah, I definitely came into this position not knowing a whole lot. Like, I was working part-time for Sterling for their Conservation Commission, and you know, things are a lot slower there. So I didn't get to have as many experiences and different applications like I did here. So I definitely will not lose any type of knowledge I've gained from here. So especially in regards to delineation and soils, that was a definite plus. That's a lot of necessary knowledge. But you guys have been very supportive and a very, very nice commission to work with.
We'll definitely miss you.
Though. Yeah.
Good luck, Anna.
Thank you.
Is Joanne Vieira still up there at Tower Hill, Anna?
It does not sound familiar. I tried to, because I know sometimes the different departments kind of like separate themselves.
Yeah.
I haven't, that name does not ring a bell to me.
Well, if you bump into her, tell her I said hi.
Well, I will.
And good luck.
And when does,
thank you.
Yeah, good luck. When does your, well, it's not even your replacement, but when does the part-time person start?
Yeah, so she is starting next week. She's starting next Tuesday, the 11th. And I know it's horrible timing, but you know, I see the positive of at least someone will be in the office. It'll be Tuesday, Thursdays. She'll be in the office about 9 to 2, I think, kind of like what Rebecca was doing. But she seems very knowledgeable and very organized. It's always the grad students. They're always very on top of it. So I'm looking forward to, you know, giving her a bit of a onboarding training and hopefully, you know, and obviously I'm going to provide as much information for her and you, the commission, as well before I leave.
Okay, well, excellent. If there are no other comments from commissioners or members of the public, I think I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I think that was Rich Bursch and Mike LaRouche.
Yep.
Roll call vote, Rich Tremblay,
Aye.
Rich Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
and Mike LaRouche.
Aye.
Aye for myself. Thank you all.
Super job,
Lovely
Madam
time.
Chair. It's your
Yeah.
first meeting.
Really?
My first one. Oh.
First,
you all.
first
Have a great
one's the
evening.
hardest.
They're all downhill from here. I get it.
Yes,
Thank
they
you.
are. Well, enjoy Vermont. We'll talk to you. I guess I won't talk to you at the next meeting.
Yeah, there's always August.
Yes, there
We'll have
is.
that.
Yep.
Take care, all. Good night.
All right.
Good
Good luck,
night.
Good night,
everyone.
everybody.
Good night.
Not at all.